Pursuit of Happiness. Who has heard them before? What are they from? Who wrote that? Okay, so hate to burst your bubble if you're a huge college prep or something, but do you know where these ideas originally? Can you say it louder? And who wrote them? Philosophers. Yeah, philosophers. It was Life, Liberty, and Property. We changed it to Pursuit of Happiness because I guess it makes us feel better. But these are from the Declaration of Independence, which is what America was kind of started on, right? Like, that's when we declared from Britain. So, at this time, these were very liberal ideas. Like, no one had this type of government. Most people were monarchies. We were leaving Great Britain, which was a what? Monarchy with King George. Okay, so these were very, very liberal ideas. So, in a way, America's based off of some liberal ideas, which I know in today's world, you're probably looking at me like I'm crazy. But back in this time, it was very different. Like I said, other countries still had monarchies. This type of government was different. They thought this would last, and a lot of them were trying to plot when they could get this land back because America was going to fail. That was the thought at this time. Many liberals, because it's different then than it is now, were small farmers. They did not like big business. They were afraid of it. They didn't want big companies taking over the world. They wanted small, but not small people, but people to have small amounts of land and power. So, the original classic liberal ideas. These are the liberals when America was founded, what they thought. Small government. They thought a strong government would be dangerous to liberty. They thought this would be the downfall of America as if we had a huge government where it was involved in everyone's business. Individual freedoms. They wanted you to have the freedom to do whatever you wanted. They didn't want the government in your life. They wanted you to be able to choose back in this time. There should be economic competition. The government shouldn't get involved if the economy started to fall down or fall apart. Whatever happens, happens. Kind of a survival of the fittest. And like I said, the extreme form was social Darwinism. Whoever's going to survive is going to survive. If not, tough luck. That's the way it's going to be. People shouldn't interfere in other people's lives. So, political change. What occurred in the 1800s that you would have to make liberalism less popular? These thoughts. The Civil War, exactly. Who was president during the Civil War? And he was a what? Yeah, so that was a change in America. So, with the Emancipation Proclamation, freed all the slaves? Abraham Lincoln. So a lot of people that were becoming slaves, that were slaves, but they weren't slaves anymore, were becoming Republican because those were the people that freed them. So it kind of makes sense on why kind of liberalism was changing. Who's heard of the term Southern Democrat before? It's kind of common, you hear it once in a while. This was where this came from. Like, that's where most of the Democrats were at this time, was in the South because of slavery. So, kind of in an opposite of what we have today in America, the North was the Republicans and the South were mainly Democrats. Now, I know you're looking at me like, because we wrote on the board, the North is mostly liberal. It's switched over time. So, that's one of the reasons why. Progressivism. It's hard to say. This is kind of what the Liberal Party turned into. It grew from the classic liberal ideas like we talked about in the 1890s and 1900s, but things started changing. They developed government programs. They developed workers' compensation. Have you guys heard of that before? Once in a while? And they started regulating corporations. They moved from this idea that the economy should be free and no one interfere, and they started regulating things because they didn't want a couple of companies or a couple of people with a lot of money to control everything. They wanted that change. They believed that limiting power of some would help the economy of everyone. So is that kind of closer to the liberal ideas we know of today, you think? So we're moving closer to where we are now? Okay. Liberal dominance in America. Many programs introduced during the Great Depression and into World War II. Why do you think the liberal dominance started during this time? Can you think? No one? Suffering. There were people suffering, yeah. The Great Depression. What else happened during the Great Depression? Right in this area of the country. Economic downfall. Dust. I just combined economic downfall and dust bowl into one. new term for today. Yeah, these things were happening, and that happened under what type of administration, you know? It was Republican. You're close. When this started, it was the Republicans in power. They hadn't really done much with the economy when they saw things were starting to head south. So a big stock market crash occurred. And it was under the Republicans, so a lot of people became Democrats and liberals. Who has heard of Social Security? Okay, that was introduced during this time. Unemployment. Who's heard of unemployment? Yeah, a lot of people. That was introduced in this time. Works Progress Administration. That one, some of you might have heard of, class. But that kind of, who remembers the stimulus projects we had like 5 or so, maybe years ago? Basically, it was the idea that if you build things like highways was a big thing at this time, so we stopped using Route 66, not like I-35. If you put people to work in projects, then the economy would start getting better. Sort of this time. Tennessee Valley Authority and FDIC. Has anyone heard of FDIC? They help make sure your money stays in the bank. This is what started during the Great Depression and transitioned into World War II. The next 7 out of 9 presidential terms were considered liberal after this time. That includes FDR, who had 4 terms. Can't do that anymore thanks to a lovely constitutional amendment. But JFK was after this, President Johnson. A lot of this happened after this time because people were afraid the Great Depression would happen again. I know just from personal experience, my grandmother went through the Great Depression, and until the day she died last year, like, she would spend $25 a month on gas, that's it. And if she ran out of gas, she would have to go pick her up or she would go anywhere. That's how afraid these people were of not having money, those sorts of things. Contemporary liberalism. This is kind of where we're going today. This is the idea that government should assist in social and economic issues. They shouldn't take a backseat anymore. They need to get involved. It's the idea that every individual should have basic things. This includes shelter, food. What's the big one we're talking about right now? Healthcare. These are the things that the contemporary liberals, tongue twister, should have. It's also the idea that you should tolerate others. Kind of like freedom, what we said on the board. Anyone should be able to do whatever they want in a way, and we just need to tolerate it. We shouldn't tell others what they should or should not be doing. Does that kind of make sense? Where I'm in? Today, the Democratic Party is usually considered the liberals in the world, in America. Certain groups of people are usually considered to be more liberal than others. These usually include minorities, the lower economic classes, and women. This does not mean, though, just because you fit into one or more of those categories, you are going to be a liberal or you're going to be a Democrat. That's just through research and data. Usually, they are more liberal than others. Does that make sense? Do you guys kind of agree with that?
Yes.
Kind of, sort of. Okay. So let's kind of compare. To begin with, I said the small government, individual freedoms, free trade, and survival of the fittest were what liberals were. Okay, let's look at our list. Any correlation? On our list, we have Democrat, freedom. So that one, freedom's on both. Change, nationalism, pro-choice, taking a claim, and then more. So there's no correlation. Kind of, sort of. So you can say liberalism has come a long way since America's founding. Yeah. So it also means the parties we have today, in 200 years, if there's a class sitting in Bishop McGinnis talking about it, they might be totally different. That means things change. Nothing stays the way they are, and you're kind of evolving. And as people change and as situations change, that party can change too. Does that make sense? Anyone have any questions?
Okay, very good. Take that to Mr. Pearson. Sorry? Who asked the question? Okay, you two and Jake will do next.